Somebody was letting go and I can't have my way.
Well, we're back again today. Today we got two interesting fellas. I don't know how this is going to happen or how this is going to fall down. We went to lunch. I don't understand anything about either one of them now. And
we tried to explain it.
You did a really, really bad job. So I hope you do a better job here today.
We're going to give you a second chance. The Acoustic Shop does know people.
Yeah, sometimes.
We didn't know these guys until recently.
Yeah,
And
real
now
recently.
Kind of know them, and
say,
hopefully
you feel
by
like
the
you
end,
know us?
hopefully by the end, we're going to know you
It's been
more.
like 2 hours.
Favorite color is green.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually my. We're
Wow,
closer.
look at you guys.
This is weird.
Oh man,
That's weird. I don't want
switch
to.
seats?
When we start sharing that we have our favorite colors and we agree on it, that's when you know that this is all. This is all
John
going.
Stamos. Did we just become best friends?
Exactly, stepbrother style. Anyway, we got Pete and Shannon here. Now the new owners of Breedlove and Bedell Guitars. This is a pretty
What's
cool.
the
to
official
have you in
name
here.
now? Is there official overall brand name?
Breedlove Guitars.
Breedlove Guitars.
All right.
Breedlove.
All right.
That's the official name of Breedlove Guitars. Breedlove Guitars.
No way.
What a concept.
So those of you who have been around here a long time know that it was originally, well, not originally, but as of recently owned by a parent company called Two Old Hippies, who had lots of instrument brands on there, as well as at one point
Believe
clothing.
it or not, there was
and
more than two old hippies too.
there were?
I think
really?
there was three.
No, I think
Yeah.
the original ones was Tom and his wife that started the company.
Tom and Molly.
They added some in though.
They added
They call them
hippies.
co-hippies.
They called co-hippies.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
But they only get a half, so it takes two of them to make one.
Two co's.
two
to
goes
make
equal one.
So we'll
All right.
do that math.
3 1/4, 2 old hippies.
But anyway, now we have these fellas in here, and it's pretty cool because we were talking a little bit about history. These guys are both into music at one point or another, and then went on to other things, and then came back to music, and now you're back.
Well, they never left
fully.
music.
Never
but,
left.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we'll make sure
I
we-
disagree. I'm going to say that they left.
Yeah.
We just
No.
trifurcated.
Oh, okay. You just said another word. We have I think a tally of people that try to use words that nobody understands, and I think you just made the big
Can you
board.
explain
So
that
good
one to
job.
John?
Don't be insouciant about it. So
There's another one. You just sit here, John. They're gonna come.
All right, you and your college-educated brain.
You're being
Whatever.
I did teach at college too. by
Did
the way.
you?
Yeah.
Do you?
I spend part of my time with him going, huh? What'd you say? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I taught the history of recorded music.
Did you really?
At Belmont, yeah. I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, you should have said something
Yeah.
about that.
I was trying to get my bona fides. I forgot that one. I've got a resume I'll hand you later. So.
History
sounds
of
good.
music, like history of music in
History of
general.
recorded music.
Recorded music.
At Belmont, that's got to be an interesting
good
class,
course.
by the way. You would think.
It was. It was like me forcing kids. It was during I had an iPod, and YouTube had just kind of gotten going. So it was like me standing there forcing these kids to listen to Eddie Cochran and things like that. And the band.
I'm down.
There you go.
Or Al Jolson. It's like
That's a wild.
And they're better
array.
for it.
They are. I was just gonna say the world is.
Yeah.
yeah.
The world is better for it.
Yeah, it was like I've done with my kids. Like just forced, I forced it on them.
It's kind of like Dad, and our dad was a bit of he's not truly a musical historian, but he bought the old Bear Family box sets.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
And we
changed
had,
everything for
he
us.
still has stacks of them.
Yeah, I still
and we
collect.
travel in the van down the road. We were touring all the time, and we'd hear, and he'd stick on one, which was, you couldn't mix them up. So we'd have Hank Pierce or Webb Pierce,
Yep, lots
Like-
of Webb Pierce.
13 hours straight of Webb Pierce.
Every
Which-
outtake. Every
Again, exactly. Every mistake, every stop, and again, it was forced upon at the time, but we're better for it. And
See, I didn't
appreciate
feel
it.
as forced. So
I'm
you
sorry.
guys,
Webb Pierce was one that I was forced to listen to, and like I said, I
Jason
can
is
appreciate
not a
it.
Webb Pierce fan.
But for 13 hours straight,
Dude, I've got a
Sounds very
3, 5, and 9-year-old. Right. My middle child, his name is Maxwell, and he always wants to listen to "Big Boss Man" by Jimmy Reed. And he doesn't want to listen to anyone else sing it. He wants to listen to Jimmy Reed. So he'll say, "Hey Google, play Big Boss Man by Jimmy Reed." Now, I'm going to tell you boys this. I feel like I have accomplished something as a parent right there. That is amazing that my 5-year-old wants to hear Jimmy Reed.
There you go.
Well, let me get you the graduate level. My kids know the difference between Earl Palmer's drumming and Hal Blaine's, and they can hear it.
Wow.
They can hear it.
Wow.
I've trained them. They've written papers on Hal Blaine.
So this is the weird part right here. Is when you're asking your kids to start writing papers, that's where it got. That's where you lost
I'm like,
me.
okay, who's that? Is that Earl Palmer? Anyway, so like, you'll get there. You'll get there. You're starting
in.
now, but it's
I'm
like,
in, man.
you got to train them now. But speaking of Webb Pierce, it's like, have you ever seen the guitar shaped pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. That was him bringing that to Nashville. That was the first guitar-shaped pool, wasn't
Classic.
I did a crazy
think
gig
it
one
is,
time
yeah.
there at that pool. It was really fun.
it? Are you going to share this story?
No,
Or?
I don't know. I don't know if the story needs to be shared.
It involved it was the middle of the day, involved lots of drugs, and it was like really fun. Yeah. So,
John,
There you go.
I'm allowing this to go. Let's go,
podcast,
folks.
I
Yeah,
full
just-
send.
it was the 90s. It was the 90s. So
It was the 90s. Is that an official excuse? Like, do people get away with it was the 90s?
Why
'Cause
does
I
it
know
always
there was-
change though? Because it was always the 80s and then the
60s.
70s.
I remember it was the
70s.
60s. I remember the 60s.
No,
I
it
don't
goes
personally
every-
I was
remember
going to
it.
say, now,
well, when you hit 50, after you're 50, you just you don't care anymore. What am I gonna do? Like,
I just turned
arrest me
50,
for-
and I'm like, I'm feeling that I can go. I don't care.
I don't really care.
I'm 50.
That's one thing I would say. I was 20 something. I'm 30. I'm 41 now, but I'm like 80 in road years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've ate so many festival hamburgers. I think my cardiac situation
Yeah.
is absolutely just
you're-
shredded, and it
I
was
like
10 years
turkey
ago.
Your true age is like 84.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in dog
Yeah.
years. Like
Yeah.
road years
My
is just like
knees.
dog years, adds up the same way.
Yeah.
When you start remembering cities by the burger, by the festival fair burger.
I brought this up before, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with this or not. I believe there is no such thing as a gourmet burger. When you've eaten as many crappy burgers as I have, they all suck. That's just the rule on burgers.
ruined. Now you're out.
It's a burger.
Burger out.
The
Until you get
McDonald's
to that,
burger tastes the same.
every like one time a year, you gotta have that craving for a nasty McDonald's burger, and then you eat it, and then you realize you shouldn't have had that craving,
Yeah, that's when they just like.
Stick to the French fries.
and then you forget. It's like
Stick to the McDonald's fries. Don't get
Yeah.
anything else.
I don't like the fries.
Oh, you don't? Are you a Burger King guy?
No, Wendy's fries. I would imagine.
Oh, okay. When I was a
Would
kid, it
probably
was like
guess.
either Burger King or McDonald's fries. Like, which ones did you love?
Yeah, that was the thing.
So we'd go to McDonald's to get the fries, and then we'd go to Burger King to get the flame.
The flame broil. That's right. You got to get the Whopper, man. Oh man. All right. By the way, we've gone so far
Yeah,
off the
this
rails,
is really
but
far off the rails.
That's why we're
you at home are loving this, aren't
This
you?
is why we are here.
Yeah, put in the comments.
Dude, just like ask me anything, and it's gonna turn sideways. So,
Turn sideways. I just love in Ozark, which is out of just on the other, outside of Springfield here. We actually had the ultimate flame broiled Whopper. The Burger King caught on fire, and
Oh, wow.
that is
totally true. It's been officially. I think that happened in 2021, and they have not even bothered to rebuild it until they're just starting to rebuild. Burger King is coming back to Ozark, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching from Ozark, we had the ultimate flamed Whopper. That one, I guarantee you, that one was.
Yeah.
That was the one.
John was in the parking lot saying, "I wanted it medium rare, damn it!
Exactly. Right.
I told you."
It's
I'm not going to pay for
well done.
Well,
So like people have just been like dying for Burger King.
Yeah,
now?
I
So it's
mean,
like,
yeah,
they've
literally.
like been out for 4 years. It's like
There's been no. I mean, they have literally shut down. Like I think we have
There's
one
only
Burger
two.
King in
There's
Springfield.
two in Springfield
Two
now.
in Springfield.
I know that because I get 25% off of my Walmart Plus
app.
membership.
is this a senior? Is this like a senior?
No, it's Walmart Plus. It's an extra perk.
Yeah.
So I eat my really gross.
Don't you guys act
sandwich
like you
every
haven't got a
morning.
Walmart Plus account? Come
I
on.
don't have a Walmart. Oh, well,
No,
I don't.
You don't have 5 kids either, so
Yeah.
grocery delivery is a given. You have to have that.
Yeah, that's pretty. I could see that. Yeah.
All right, so you guys, Nashville is where you are hailing from originally. Are you both still living in Nashville?
We are, yes.
So, Dune, until you started on Guitar Companies, what were you doing? Anything of any importance at all?
No, man. I was just tie-dye t-shirts.
Tie-dye T-shirts.
On a t-shirt. Yeah. Hanging out. You know.
No, you both got. We
Yeah,
were kind
we'll
of
start
talking
with
about
Pete.
it.
Yeah, we
with
really
some
do. I mean,
with
we
storied
both-
history.
Yeah, the both of us story for me is that, I moved to Nashville when I was 19 years old to be a singer-songwriter and really cut my chops writing songs there. And so I did that all through my 20s and recorded and did light touring at that time. I wasn't on a hardcore circuit tour like I know that you guys lived that life, Mine was more kind of show here, show there, a lot of stuff in Nashville. In Nashville, you've got a lot of songwriter nights.
Oh, yeah.
So I played a bazillion of those things, If I had to hear one more song about watermelons or, trucks or
Come on.
the dog dying or, Granny that, made great pie and she's
My favorite
coming back.
contribution to country music is "Girl." There's always got to be a
Girl.
"Come on,
on,
girl."
Girl,
Girl.
do the watermelon crawl.
Girl
Talking about trucks.
Yeah.
Talking about girls.
and a beer by a river.
Girl,
With ice
good
cold.
in them
Talking about
shorts.
trains. Talking about mama.
We just lost half the audience. All right, go, move
We
on now.
We do love country music. I do.
I did not take my Ritalin today, by the way. So, it helps to know that.
I didn't take your Ritalin either.
Damn it, I wish I had his Ritalin.
Focus.
So I went through my 20s playing music in Nashville and writing a ton, doing a lot of demo singing. Nashville at that time, you think about it, it was the 90s. 90s going into 2000s. Country was, it was the roaring rebirth of country music during that time.
Sure.
And I got into golf. I love playing golf. It was like my hobby, and my hobby became a job where I learned I could make a little bit of money and not be the proverbial
Hold
starving
on.
artist.
Wait a second. You're telling me that people in golf make money? Like, is this a thing?
You can. Just work and sell golf clubs. and-
People that play golf have money? Is this what you're
Oh, wait,
telling me?
Wait, what?
It's the same.
I did not. That is why I got into it. Let me be very clear about that. I remember a guy saying to me one time, he said, "Do you want to perform the demo days that I do? Take a tent out and show clubs to people, a demonstration day?" And I'm like, "What?" He said, "I'll give you clubs."
I love it.
And I was like, "I'm in. Give me them." So no, I needed the job.
I need some clubs, by the way. I might.
No, you don't.
golf.
Do you golf?
It's been a
Poorly.
long time.
Man, is
Yeah.
it? We'll get into that
Real
story.
bad.
I love it. We used to, back when we were touring, that's the musician thing to do. You had
Yeah, you
days
put-
off,
yeah,
right?
Hurry up and wait.
So you'd be like, we're in between a show, and you're like, got 2 days off. It's like, let's go play a round of golf. Or in the morning, you did your sound check, and then you got a few 3-4 hours. You go, there's always a cool golf course somewhere. Now, were we any good at it? No.
That's all right. Did you have fun?
Yes, we had a blast.
Frustrated?
No, the last time I played golf, I did not.
You
Have
did
it.
have fun.
And that's why it's the last
Did you
time.
break a club?
I did, and I was renting clubs, and I really was not happy, and I would never play it again.
So I spent time in the golf space, and I kept on playing music, and it kept being kind of confusing to certain people, and balancing between both worlds. And in 2000, when the pandemic happened, The Voice on NBC reached out to me to be on the show, and I thought it was a complete joke. I literally did. I got the email and was like, "This is not real," and I was in full pursuit at that time of killing my liver. I was in like, it was like 11 o'clock in the afternoon.
What a kind way to say it, by the
I'm
way.
just saying, I was karate chopping that thing, man. I was like, it was like, let's see, I got nothing to do. Like,
Sure.
What am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. The world might end. So anyway, I remember my wife said to me, she goes, "Are you gonna send them an email back about, you want to be on the show?" I said, "It's not real." I said, "Sure." So I go upstairs, record a couple videos, send it in that they wanted you to do some audition videos. I got a call back a couple weeks later, and they said, "Hey, man, congratulations. The NBC people want you to be on this show." And I still thought it was a joke. I'm like, whatever. I felt like it was like Publishers Clearinghouse. Like, you could win $10 million, So anyway, I find myself a month later in L.A. in weird times, man. It was COVID times, and I don't know if you boys have ever been to California, but it's weird
yeah.
already.
Oh, yeah.
But COVID it was whack-a-doodle time. I mean, dude, that doesn't even like do justice. It was pretty crazy. Then put yourself on the set of an NBC show. It was plastic floor to ceiling. It was a lot of precautions were taken, if you will.
I remember seeing all that.
Yeah, it was a trip. So we did that. Went through 5 or 6 episodes of the show and then came off the show and went back into a lot more, even though I still was in golf. As you can imagine, that makes you a little more visible to people where then you go out and start playing a lot more.
Absolutely.
To kind of, capitalize on that a bit and kind of still stay with the voice train, if you will.
Sure.
And right when I left the show is when I became a Breedlove artist. And I became hip to the brand and got into the guitars, and I love them as a guitar player. So that's what's interesting to me sitting here today, being a co-owner of the company, that I genuinely, this is beyond organic. Like, I mean, I came into this playing the guitar and seeing certain things I loved and certain things, quite frankly, I didn't, but it wasn't my guitar company to make any decision. You just kind of roll with it, right?
Absolutely.
So,
it is pretty wild. I remember we had Janae as good friends of ours forever. She was on The Voice as the fiddle player, as that background. You probably worked with her quite a bit.
Yeah,
I remember
she's amazing.
Her sending videos and pictures. I talked to her a few times during that time period. Yes.
Janae. I don't know if you guys had a chance to have to go back and look at like my voice stuff, but Blake I was in a band with Blake a long time ago. It wasn't really a band. It was a writing group. I told you about being in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And Janae was in his band for a while. So his bass player, Rob Bias, on the show, I said, "You stole my bass player." And Blake was like, "No, I gave him a job." And like, he did give him a job. I wasn't paying him, so it's Nashville playing writers' nights. So anyway, but Janae would always come into the blues band and that I have with Rob, and she would come and hang out and stuff, not play blues, but she's awesome.
She is. She's known her for a long time. She's actually from Arkansas down here.
Really?
Played bluegrass stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's when I met her a long time ago. We were all teenagers together and
she's great,
all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah.
She really is.
She's killing it.
Salt of the earth.
But I remember seeing all the pictures and stuff of COVID and The Voice, and that was a wild time. I mean, anything was wild. COVID for any company. COVID was wild for here. I told you the story of us moving into this building. It was just a weird time to do anything. We were bleaching floors every day. And
you say you're drinking
do
bleach?
Stuff. No, I was not drinking bleach. I was
I
smarter.
knew we had something in common, dude. I knew it.
No.
Shannon,
I was really helping paint this.
Shannon's like, I am. Oh, wait, I mean, what? Wait, hang on.
But Shannon, now your music history goes even further back because you're
richer.
like from day one. You have music history from day one,
right. Yeah.
Literal day one.
Yes, literally embryo. He's embryo. His DNA is.
Well, I had what you call a typical childhood.
Yeah, of course you did.
Summers in Rangoon. But no, I grew up with my grandfather was Eddie Arnold, and country music legend.
Beyond country music legend. I think this is one thing that a lot of people don't recognize about Eddie Arnold was this is like your first pop artist.
Yes.
Pop
he was
king.
he was kind of
King,
he was the crossover guy starting in the 40s. He was the guy that made country palatable to non-rural, listeners. He was trying to kind of get it away from the hillbilly. He was defensive about being labeled as a hillbilly singer. And so he always wanted to be like, Bing Crosby was his idol, and so he always wanted to have that sort of stature as a crooner more than anything. So
and honestly did, in the history. I mean, you obviously know more of the history than I do, but that's the real deal. I mean, these were the top pop music. His was with a Western flair, but that was the top pop icon.
I mean, he brought that sound to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like he single-handedly is the person that brought, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon, like a Dean Martin sound to Nashville.
Yeah, it was just really because he worked on, he was a sharecropper, in West Tennessee, so he grew up, as hillbilly as you can get, but he worked on, he studied, Bing Crosby and Perry Como, and the crooners of that era, so yeah, I mean, that was kind of his goal, was to kind of transcend the hillbilly stuff, and so so he had quite a career that tapered off in the 50s, and then it revived when the Nashville sound. He and Patsy Cline were, and Jim Reeves, which that's a whole other story. I always laugh because this terrible story, but like when Jim Reeves' plane went down, which was not far from where my grandparents
Really
live. Yeah, I mean like maybe a mile and a half. And there's footage of my grandfather, like you'll see just blips of him, like when they were searching for Jim Reeves' body.
Really?
Wow.
And he was there when they just, it was like right there when they discovered Jim Reeves. And I always kind of joked, it's like he was just trying to make sure he was actually dead. Because there was terrible.
Yeah, it's
I
terrible.
wouldn't have said that in front of but yeah, it was like
You just did in front of the camera.
Just did.
Can
we please edit that out?
Jim Reeves.
Really?
Yeah, because if you look at at that time, like 1963, 64, they were inhabiting the same, but
They were.
But Jim Reeves had crossover European success.
Yes,
that Eddie
he did.
didn't have as much.
By the way, I'm a huge Jim Reeves fan. I mean, I love Eddie Arnold as well, but I really got into that
Oh, man.
Jim Reeves era.
I gotta get up and go.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's still. I mean, now
still-
you're
It's
stepping
still-
on-
it's
you're
still
stepping on
deep
his
right there.
lawn now. Like this.
It's like who can wear a tuxedo better? Sorry, man. Jim did not have the Riz, baby. So it's like,
That's true.
Time you just put the Riz with Jim Reeves.
Eddie Arnold.
This is what the man does.
This
He's a bridge, man. He's a bridge.
Man, I have a hard time with this kind of crap listening to my kids with their Riz and their skibbities.
It's a little sus. That's a little sus.
I'll throw in
man.
some low key, like it's low key, but anyway.
With Jim Reeves and Eddie Arnold.
Jimmy's like low key, y'all was like, but
So awful.
yeah. So I grew up, and I grew up really getting actually something serious, but I remember going to the recording studios as a kid, and I was always just absolutely fascinated by instruments. My first drum kit, my uncle gave me when I was a little kid as a Slingerland student kit, which I still have.
That's pretty awesome.
And actually, I was just playing the cymbals with Pete the other night. And so I've always, I wanted to really play drums. And so I started, probably was 10 or 11, started playing and sort of like playing, trying to form bands and played all through high school, rock stuff and everything. And I evolved into like playing in indie bands, which I still play in. And I'm in 2 bands right now. It's like, I've always been in bands, always wanted to be in a band, and played every club, in Nashville and surrounding cities and in the region for years and years and years. But I didn't want to tour. I never really was into that. I would love to be like a session guy, but I wasn't good enough to be a session guy. But that would have been like the dream job, just to every day go to work, do sessions, not ever have to tour, not ever have to be. I didn't care about fame or anything. If I could just make a living at it, that's what I wanted to do. But like everybody else, you have to start having a family, and you got to get a real job and all that stuff. So I got into corporate real estate, and I evolved into. I taught music history at Belmont, and started a record label.
So there's a question. How does it go from real estate to music history at Belmont? Did you have, was it just because it's Belmont and your history, or did you actually study to be a teacher?
I did.
At
I have a
Belmont?
master's degree in education.
Really?
Yeah. And so I was going to teach, but then started having kids, and it was kind of like, I got to make a little bit more money. So that's when I got into corporate real estate, and that eventually led to, the development side of things, and which I've inhabited for almost 20 years. And so, but like Pete, it's like I didn't want to be pigeonholed, and I'm so ADD. I just have to have shiny things going on all the time, and so it started with a record label and was doing and there was other entrepreneurial things that I was doing, but and that really kept formally my toe in the water with music. And I was still playing with some of the artists that were on the label, so I was getting to go out and do some touring, things like that. Punk with Cheetah Chrome of the Dead Boys. I'm sure you guys know.
Of course.
all the Dead Boys.
Yeah.
Play with them every day.
I'm deep in the punk scene.
That's our next. That's your next. I need you guys to do.
Wait, bluegrass punk. I love it. Let's do it.
It's the same thing, man. Like Sonic Reducer is no different than Uncle Pen.
Yeah, I
so
hear
it's
you.
like
I mean, you got Hayseed Dixie.
Yeah.
I mean,
You might just put them
kinda
together.
get
It's the same
close to
thing.
it. I mean, close. That's not punk.
No, not quite.
But
I can hear the runs on
it's
Sonic
probably
Reducer.
punk for bluegrass.
But
Punk is bluegrass.
Yes.
That's true.
Bluegrass is punk, I think
Bluegrass.
is actually what he was trying to say.
That's right. It's the same thing.
Which came first?
Tomatoes, John. Tomatoes,
Yeah.
tomatoes.
I know a lot of punks that play bluegrass.
Hey,
Is John one of them?
I love polka.
Chief punk over there.
It's the same thing as polkas. It's
Yeah.
a waltz. It's like it's all good, man.
Polka's all there. Man,
know,
if you can't get into a little bit of a polka every once in a while, you're
Now keep in
you're
mind,
missing.
my last name's Mroz. It's Mrozitsky, really. So just be careful. Careful right now, John.
I'm not
You're
against
going
it.
there. You're
like
going
you
there.
think
I
I'm
can tell.
against it. You think
No, man.
we used to work with a polka band. I'm telling you, you
real
get
famous one in Omaha.
Omaha.
They're
Yeah.
a blast, man. Like, and you think about like it's a great Ray Charles song. It's I want to make love to a woman in 3/4 time. So that's like that's a waltz, baby. So it's like that's polka.
I like it.
But anyway, so I've always been, yes, I've always played. I've never stopped playing. And but when Pete brought this to me, I was never like in like early March had never thought about getting into buying a guitar company,
Right.
Ever. So that was never on my radar. But I was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It truly felt
And-
like, and to go to say it like this seems kind of weird, to buy a guitar company. It never felt like I ever had. I never would have dreamed that up in my life. I couldn't even imagine that. But then once it's happened, it marries every skill set that I have as a human.
Sure.
Whatever that is, whatever.
Yeah.
Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I mean, there's not one person that I've told this to that knows me that doesn't go,
Every
wow,
same
well, that
thing.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Every
You
single
know?
person that knows me, and of course, all my friends are musicians.
Sure.
And I know people that I grew up with are all musicians, and so it's like 51 years of the minutia that's been dumping
Yeah.
in my head, from osmosis and from choice and those things. But I've studied it my whole life, and it's and been an entrepreneur. It's kind of fits in the wheelhouse of the things that I know from that end of things. And
Yeah.
and again, but the history. I've spent a lot of time studying different years, like Slingerland. I'm a Slingerland guy, and I know how bad Slingerland over the years screwed things up. Whatever ownership came in and bought them, and you know this for every manufacturer. It's like whatever years the Gibson was owned by this group or whatever it was.
Whatever that is,
It was like they were making junk during this era, and they got bought by somebody that was doing a good job, and everybody's trying to rewrite the book.
Fender, CBS.
So
and,
exactly. So
various different- yeah.
those eras, in instrument makers, and so it's kind of like. So I've got my brain is on that with what we're doing. Of course, it's about simplifying, but it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But it's about keeping an eye on the history and not making those same mistakes that. I don't want to be that guy that it was like, oh God, it's the Pete and Shannon years. It's like, don't buy those. It's like, it's like, don't buy those. It's like those dudes, they just
But we're not scared to say we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know just because that Shannon's immersed in music DNA uncut in a way that is like mystifies me, and business acumen. All this. That doesn't mean that we're going to get everything right and we don't have questions and we don't know.
Sure.
But we've got enough
We have a-
experience.
We have enough experience and we have a great team.
Yeah.
We have a great team of people in Bend, Oregon that they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's like if we had all them in the room to start talking about stuff, those are the people, we're here to try to help re-envision and see some of the things that could have been not maybe done better or different,
Different. I think this is the case, and I think this is where you have your guys' advantage to this is you do have a team that's been part of this, and it's a great team. We know this. We've been there. We've worked with them. We've done so many projects with that whole team. I mean, we know just about everybody that's up there right now on a personal level. But what's always happens, and it's with us here in our business, and we deliberately push this all the time. You get so wrapped up into what you're doing and what you believe is the right move that sometimes you miss some of the focus on the outside of what it is.
Exactly.
And we try to, as the acoustic shop, that's one of our big pushes deliberately here in the shop is to go, hey, let's pay attention to what everybody else is doing, not just what we're doing, because there's some really important lessons to be had all throughout this whole deal. And sometimes any company can get stuck in their own
It's hard to
little
have fresh
space.
eyes when you're working there and you're around it and you're doing it for so long.
That was the first thing that we really noticed and just needed a different and Tom said the same thing.
Yeah, he
he knows it.
And he said the same thing, and we recognize that. And again, it's like I think it's helpful. I think already in our minds, at least, that I mean, because I played guitar since, I mean, I got my first guitar when I was 8, you know, it's a little Harmony, which I still have and love. You played that one at my house. So I've always loved guitars too. I've never been as good of a guitar player as I, you know, think I am as a drummer. And I'm not that great of a drummer either, but it's so. But
You're a great drummer.
I've tried to hack my way through guitar, you know, most of my life. But I know the differences between like a cheap guitar and a Willow Row guitar and a good guitar, and it's like, you know, and that's a feel, and that's a thing that I think that we're bringing into this is because we've actually spent enough time playing and been around enough, and you know, and that's the advantage of being, you know. I'm 71 years old. You know, it's like I just look like I'm 50. You know, so. But
good try.
But yeah, my hard looking 51. But it's like
I play 30.
Yeah. But so I just think it's cool to like. I think for us to breathe. I think as you see, we're bringing a different energy into the company. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the right one, but
they already taken the keys away from the forklift and probably the scissor lift.
They took the scissor lift keys away from me.
We've walked in there and it was like Candyland, you know.
So fun. That scissor lift is legit, man.
You're not supposed to just go in there. I know you have the keys, but you're not allowed to.
There's such a thing as called forklift certification.
I
not just
certified myself.
It's not
right
just
there by the-
hard.
I am almost positive that OSHA does not recognize your certification.
See, like,
We're not talking about the ocean. Like, listen. Who's talking about beaches right now? No, I'm talking about scissor lifts.
I know. And see, the forklift's right by the garage door. And I just want to back that thing out in the parking lot.
I know you do. But
I have no idea how to
we'll have to
operate it.
replace the door, and that's, then we got
So it's like
another issue.
they won't hand me the keys.
Yeah.
So,
I
but anyway,
understand
but
this.
we're already bringing a different energy in there, and they think that we're kind of wackadoodle. I think,
And
but
we
it's-
are.
But
And
that's okay.
all right. I think it needs it.
But you know, it's like they keep saying, it's like, man, look, this is great. You guys are building guitars. This is like energy that needs to be put out to the world. This is like, and I'm evangelical about it. I mean, I really believe it's like this is what helps save. This can save the world. I mean, I've thought that my whole life. It's like this is the kind of stuff. Music saves everything. It's
Sure.
like
Man.
art, whatever form of art that floats your boat. It's like, but we're not putting out like, you know, we're not making. You know, dangerous weapons, or we're making something that's.
I don't know. I've seen some people play guitar.
Well, that's true. That's
Pretty
When the new
dangerous.
banjo line
That's true.
comes out.
Have you seen banjos?
There's a new banjo line from
You guys-
Breedlove.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can only use as a weapon.
I watched your video. That was a good one. It helped make a very fast decision.
It is kind of cool to, like you said, to have a whole nother set of eyes. And Tom had the company for 15 years.
14 years.
Yeah, 14 years, and which is still a short one. But this is an area, I think we talked about this at lunch. Breedlove was it's a much bigger history than what a lot of people recognize.
1990.
And so it's been around for quite a while. There has been a whole lot of deals, and it kind of got in its own little world for a while, because I think at that point they were very experimental. When Tom kind of came in right before then, it became a very experimental company. Excuse me, may have kind of pushed away from some of the traditional designs and things, but Kim Breedlove was building some pretty traditional guitars at one point too, with some experimentation into new and different things. And, you know, I think that it was part of what Breed was doing for a long period of time, was just kind of focusing in on what they were kind of specializing in. And I know we've already talked about this. In the future, you're kind of finding this to kind of evolve even more, a little bit more open to different characters of what Breedlove can be. Is that correct?
That's completely,
That's
yes.
couldn't say any better.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did
We're
you
done.
hear that?
Ladies and gentlemen, John Chapman. John Chapman, ladies
That's
and
why
gentlemen.
I'm here, ladies and gentlemen.
You can Venmo him tips. And
He takes payments. Venmo.
So I, as a nerd here, as my country music nerdism, I gotta know, what was it like growing up as Arnold family here? I gotta hear some more of that.
yeah, it was. Well, we couldn't have wire hangers, and we were out scrubbing, you know, toilets with toothbrushes and things. Like in
heck is that?
mommy, I'm making mommy
Mommy
dearest
Dearest
reference.
Yes, I got you.
Wire hangers.
No more.
No more wire
Wire
hangers.
hangers.
My favorite play on that was a Futurama episode where it was they're having a robot version of Mommy Dearest. And it was, no more hanging wires. And she was beating her. It's a good joke. Play on words there.
You know, it was funny. We really didn't. Eddie, my grandfather was like pretty. He really didn't put us much in the spotlight or anything with that. And of course, I was, being the grandson too. It's kind of. I mean, obviously he was really popular. You know, especially even still, like in the '80s and '90s and things like that. So, I mean, everybody knew who it was. A thing, but we didn't. I grew up very middle class, just very normal middle class ranch house, like I said. And we didn't. A station wagon, just it wasn't like living some opulent.
Was your mom and dad into music? Or
Oh
was
yeah,
it...
that's where I get a lot of my dad. And like I said, both my parents passed away last year, but my dad was like an amateur DJ, especially when he worked as a DJ when he was a teenager and before he went to college. But he was music obsessed, and he started buying records, rock and roll records when he was 9 years old, and worked the paper route so he could buy records, and and he was obsessed with the minutia, and that's what he passed along to me. So I get this Rain Man thing, like honestly, because he literally, we would be in the car driving around, and that's how we communicated even up until the day he died. That's how we communicated. So we would be like in the car and listening to like Chuck Berry would come on, and he'd be like, all right, what label was Chuck Berry on? What year was this? Who's playing guitar on that? I'm like, so it's like, is it Hubert Sumlin? It's Chess, 1957, whatever. So he drilled that into me, like I remember all the labels on 45s, from you name it. I mean, Decca, Specialty, all those things, and even it's funny. I was even in New Orleans twice this year, down there, obsessively doing my own version of like a walking history thing, just because a lot of the stuff is it's not parking lots stuff.
Yes.
And I never had a chance really until like really this year to ever actually spend the time where I could go down there and just walk around and like just look and okay, so here's where where Art Roop Studio was, or here's J&M Studios where that was, and it's like all these things that were such big, where Earl Palmer's house was, or Clarence Frogman Henry. These are like people that I grew up knowing who they were, and so that's just that. But so there was actually probably more my dad as an influence than even my grandfather on that stuff. And later in life, when I would hang up my grandfather, we'd sit there and listen to records in his office and stuff, and that was cool. That was fun but we'd be sitting and listening to like Arthur Fiedler records, and like Perry Como records and things like stuff like that. Weird. He hated bluegrass, by the way. Absolutely hated bluegrass. Perfect. It was so because I've always loved bluegrass, and so that was, and I would try to lay some stuff on him. I would take stuff, and he'd be like,
Do you think it's because it reminded him of his plowboy days, like it in some form or fashion?
I think it just
maybe
aesthetically,
it in his mind took him back to some kind of.
He was a jazz fan.
Okay.
If there was anything that was outside of like country that he truly really dug, that was jazz. He actually liked big bands, but he liked he liked Dizzy Gillespie and stuff. And he told me a cool story that when in the 50s, because when you used to still have to record up in New York before RCA built the studios in Nashville, you had to go up to New York and record. And so he would go to the jazz clubs, 52nd Street. And he would go up there, and he told me that one time he was watching Dizzy Gillespie, and Dizzy Gillespie recognized him, and he was just like, his mind like exploded, because Dizzy Gillespie called him out from the stage and was like, "Yo, man, I guess I got Eddie on records in my house, and like he was just like, that was like the big. And when he got to hang out with like Louis Armstrong, it was kind of like his head just like exploded. It was just, and
Cool as that.
and then the one time he got to meet Bing Crosby was terrible. It's like it's one of those like don't ever meet your heroes kind of thing. Bing Crosby called him boy, and he was like a 50-year-old man, and like
Yeah.
and he was just like I think he was about to like throttle him or something, It was at the San Francisco airport like about 1964 or 5, something like that. Yeah.
But you're saying, so that was, you're saying earlier that Eddie was kind of trying to bring less of a country feel, even though it had that country feel.
Yeah.
He wanted to be more of a crooner style. You
Yeah.
think that's where that kind of not digging the bluegrass side of it, the more the hillbilly, because he didn't want to be a hillbilly, right?
He didn't want to be a hillbilly, but he I think again, because it really I think was just an aesthetic thing. You know, it's like some people just don't like jazz. Some
Yeah.
people, you know, I don't think it was.
Oh,
just-
I'm not offended by it
yeah.
in any way.
No, because
Yeah, I should be, but
I don't
we
think
all
it
know
was-
there's only one good music.
Opinions are like,
Well, he didn't like. Well, I remember, like for instance, he didn't like. It was really funny because I used to play him. What was it? You know, I remember playing him the Iris Dement record that I love. You know, the infamous Angel record. Love that record. I remember when I first got that record, I was just obsessed with it, and I thought I'm gonna go over and play it for him, see what he thinks. And he actually kind of because I knew her voice was very quirky, you know, obviously. And he was sitting there just kind of puzzled for a minute, like when it first got going, and then he was like, you know, that's okay. He goes, but his whole thing was like, also about bluegrass. He's like, it's just not going to sell. It was the commercial aspect of it as well. It was like the aesthetics and it was a commercial thing.
he's a businessman.
He was a sharecropper, so he was about making the money.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was about the art form too. I know he cared about that, but it wasn't as much. He wasn't like you know, Johnny Cash, driven by like this need to produce or whatever you want to. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like, so. It was definitely more like, this is the nuts and bolts of how I'm going to make a living, you know. And
I think it's just interesting, like, to kind of recap what I'm hearing and know that that's a part of the DNA of Breedlove,
Yeah.
which is the next part of the chapter of this brand, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's now has, and not that Larry or Kim or Tom didn't have authenticity. That's not what we're saying at all. It's just a different
Aspect of it.
Yeah, now it's like this, you know, musical ground zero authenticity of it. That's not.
And also kind of you're bringing in more of the East Coast world of music too, because you got to realize with Kim, that was coming out of the California days.
That's right.
That's part of the American Dream stuff. That was
right.
Right.
part of that original Taylor. I mean, even in this guitar world, we still have our West Coast East Coast battles.
totally, totally.
Although nobody's
don't you
getting
start
shot.
throwing signs, buddy.
like-
You can't be
Nobody's
doing
getting
that.
shot in Vegas.
I don't
but-
even know what they
Shut-
are.
yeah, we're exactly.
Wait, hang on.
I'm going.
What?
I'm Public Enemy all day long.
Yeah, I bet you are.
East Coast.
I'm public enemy number 3. One of these days, I'll get to one.
No, but there is some of that too, and I think that's what got you involved. Was those guys actually starting to recognize that there was a whole nother aspect of what even Breedlove was doing. That's where you came in as an artist, kind of for them as well, and they were working quite a bit with a lot of West Coast artists throughout, because it's part of that DNA and the style of what they were building and what they were doing. I think all guitar companies go through these phases of figuring out who their demographic is. Yeah. What is it that we're trying to do? I mean, I'm talking to the big boys right now, and they're redefining who they are. I'm talking like the top ones, the ones that everybody knows of. They're still trying to figure out who their demographic is, and it's changing. It's
It is
absolutely
changing. Well, there's a lot of. I mean, the generation of. I mean, you think about the younger people today have grown up with other forms of popular music that was not guitar based. And our generation and our parents' generation, they grew up with rock bands, and it was all guitar based, and you couldn't imagine another world, and then that's why it's like, so when hip hop and other art forms, were getting away from, acoustic drums or acoustic guitars or electrified guitars, it's not. There's so many more influences involved, and it's like that aspect and that generation is, and they're not. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's moving on.
sure.
And so you have to, if you're looking to generate the younger people, you've got to embrace a different, I think, a more open mentality to. I mean, I think as we get older, we all shut down, get more closed-minded. But again, as a company,
Especially when it comes to music.
Yeah.
My music was good. Your music sucks.
Yeah, right.
yeah, and I don't believe that. I think there's more good music now than there ever has been.
I would agree with that.
I think it's just that
I think there's more music.
You just have,
There's also more bad music. In my opinion.
there's always been bad music, and
Yes.
but the gatekeepers, there's not as many gatekeepers.
That's what I'm saying. There's
And
there's more being made right now, so there's
don't have-
opportunity.
Yeah, radio's not not driving the taste bus. It's kind of like Top 40 did that for so long, and that's why we all loved it. I mean, but it was all programmed for us, but it's not like that. It's the Wild West, and that's why the record companies all screwed up. And
They're out. They're gone.
They literally dropped the ball, in the early aughts, and like literally technology wise dropped the ball because they were in that dinosaur mentality that you're going to be able to sell $18.99 CDs, when it costs 80 cents to make the CD, maybe $1.50 when you add the marketing budget or something into it. But it's like you know what I mean. It's like it had to change technology wise. But anyway, I digress. I can go off in all these different avenues.
Oh, I bet we could.
but back to but again, you're thinking about guitars. It's like that next generation has to. And I think like artists like Billy Strings. I think people like young guys like him that are re-energizing the acoustic guitar market. I think that's really cool. And I think there's always going to be those guys. I think, but it's just. What are you gonna do next? I mean,
well, I think this brings up a really fun kind of segment of what's going on with guitars, and music in general. Like, it goes through these swings, and I definitely don't know the history of music as much as a Belmont educated professor of, But you know how this goes. I mean, if I just take the history of even country music into bluegrass music, the swings that it went through. In the you had the 1946 band with Bill Monroe, where he comes out and blows everybody's minds and was the first artist that goes to the Opry and has multiple encores. And it's the first time anything like this has ever been done. He keeps singing the same song over and over because they won't let him leave the stage. And that's hard for a lot of people, younger people now, to recognize this. Monroe was truly, again, a pop icon. He was a Michael Jackson. He was a Beatles. He was that, he was that level. And Eddie Arnold before him was that level of artist. Now the fan base didn't act the same way as that kind of, but it was that same level of build. But when I talk about acoustic music, you had that revival, and this was easy for me as to go down the bluegrass / folk world. That went for a long period of time. It slowed down. And then comes the mid-'60s, and all of a sudden it's back again in this folk boom. And all of a sudden, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs are now bigger stars than they've ever been before. Monroe's just as big a star as he ever was before. And now you're bringing in new artists like the Osborne Brothers. Like I said, this is easy for me because I know the bluegrass history better. I know you could probably find parallels to this in every one. And these cycles keep coming back where they kind of go, wait, we went way out on this field for a while. And now I want to bring it back. And I think it's due to the artists that go back and start recognizing, like you were talking about Eddie, looking at the jazz greats before him. And he brings that back, and the fan base that's all of a sudden here for him starts to go, wait a second, I need to go down this road. And we've seen this, again, with these runs of bluegrass artists, and you brought up Billy Strings. And now we're seeing another run of traditional bluegrass artists that are getting this opportunity to come out here, and acoustic music in general takes this whole nother swing, and everybody's like, wait, let me hear the roots of this again. We went out here for a while, but I want to hear, why did people do this? And let me catch on to the roots of it a little bit more.
Art is cyclical, right? I mean, everything is. It's going to have these highs, and then a perceivable low just means where's it going to go next?
Yeah.
Back up.
Well, it's like
so it's not... I believe in acoustic instruments from my songwriter days because I know it's like the foundation of where a song starts.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not saying you can't start it with a beat and you can't go that way, but I know that a lot of people grab a guitar or a piano, and that's how they're gonna write.
I don't think that'll ever change.
I don't know how that will ever change, other than I don't even get into AI stuff and stuff. But I know that it's such a what do you say, a tactile, or it's an experience. It's something that
it's natural,
it's
right?
So everyone can do it if you put the time into it. I mean, how many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, it's too hard. I stopped playing. It was too hard." But it weeds those people out, and the people that do really want to do it and that are going to make something from that succeed, and that instrument's never going to go away. So in the conversation right now talking about more of a popular music that's out there and the visibility of it. But the reality is, in the backdrop in our homes, it's not going away. People are still wanting to play these guitars.
Yeah, and it's a collectible thing, and it's also mental health. You know, it's a good mental health exercise. But you know, like that's a good point, Pete. I agree with you on that. I think that everything's cyclical, and I don't think people are going to ever lose that need for a tactile experience. I think, and then, you know, I think going back to the history thing, it's like, you know, I mean, again, like with bluegrass, it's, you know, like Ricky Skaggs when he did, you know,
was
the
another big
Uncle
swing
Pen,
in the-
Uncle Pen
in
thing
the mid-'80s, yeah.
with Bill Monroe, and that was the first time I remember seeing Bill Monroe. Was because of the video.
Yep.
You know, or like,
Totally for me. That was the first time I
yeah, like Dwight Yoakam with Buck Owen. Well,
Which caused me then to do what happens a lot of times. You go back to the
Dial.
well.
That's what you're. You, know,
You
that's
go
what
back to the well and go, oh, wait a second. Who is it? I remember seeing that and going, who's that dude with that hat on? Like, I'm like, what?
Well, then
and
you
then
had-
I went back and went,
Well, yeah,
Mind
another
blown.
run of that, which happened after that, which was the 2000s, where all of a sudden Fish is out here doing this stuff, and all of a sudden they're bringing Del McCurry and all these
That's
super
right, that's
traditional
right,
acts.
that's exactly
And
right.
all of a sudden these kids are just coming out of the woodwork, coming to bluegrass festivals. This really
I
wild
was one
run
of
of
them.
it, yeah.
I was one of them. That's. I mean.
so it's
Fish
this
was this
circle.
crazy
It really
deal.
truly
I've
is
seen
a
Fish,
circle.
I mean, probably 19 times.
Yeah. So now we got this new run of the Billy String. It's just so easy for me for bluegrass,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I could go on. You could talk about it with folk, you know, Bob Dylan and the singer songwriter world, and how that kind of has its cycles
Oh
of
Brother,
bringing.
you know,
Bro Brother was another run of that in the '90s. It was. This is a fun thing, and you're right. I think acoustic music is so natural and so automatic as part of it, and it was kind of proven again. Let's talk about COVID and how acoustic music
Right.
went through this absolutely
Cotton candy,
crazy
crazy
thing
land, yeah.
because all of a sudden during COVID, everybody had this opportunity to finally do the thing that they wanted. And if you watch what came out of that, yes, guitars in general blew up, and electric guitar did go very, very big, and a lot of instruments did. But what really seems to have continued out of that world is that acoustic realm, and that's where we're still seeing banjos and mandolins and guitars and acoustic drums and acoustic pianos, and it went through this whole new rebirth of that because why? We were at home, we got to something that really felt like comforting,
And you had time
felt,
to invest into it.
Yeah,
Which is really difficult, right? I
Yep.
mean, it's really hard. You know, we got on a golf conversation, and one of the hardest things about golf is the time it takes to try to remotely, I don't even want to say be good,
Yeah.
because it's a relative term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But guitar is the same way. You need time.
absolutely.
And we're in such the thing that's the other side of that conversation that scares me about guitars and stringed instruments is the generation of kids and people today that need it like this, need it now, need it now, need it now, and they don't want to put that time in to do that. You know, that is a scary thing about it, but I believe that the cream rises to the top, and
There's
I
always some
believe
of
that that no matter, this is what I don't know what side of the pendulum.
Well, that's
if
our
it's-
jobs. That's
yeah.
all of our jobs at this.
That's right, here.
It's our
That's
job-
what we
it's our
do.
job to
Right? We're
sell-
the ones that put that out there.
It's our job to
people.
sell that.
Yeah.
You know,
and
it's,
support it.
And support
Yeah,
it.
man, yeah.
More than anything, support it.
That's
That's what we
right.
try to do
Because it-
here is create that community where
that's spreading the gospel. You
all the way
know,
to the end.
And that's the one thing. Again, if we're going to get to what are we trying to say, Jason?
our raison
We're trying to
d'etre.
say.
I'm not sure. Want me to recap again?
We're trying.
go back to the swimming.
I want to hear this recap.
Recap my swimming pool story.
Let's see how good you
I got
are,
lost
Jason.
a long time ago. No.
Jason's thinking about French fries at Wendy's. He's
What's
Made
your
of
favorite
sharks.
fish song?
sharks with drugs. Like he's
Fish
still
sharks.
in that. He's still in that like guitar-shaped pool with sharks and drugs.
In the end, though, aren't we just trying to say? I have this conversation. I know you would say it in each of your favorite genres of music. I think we have this really bad habit of trying to always go, what I listened to was good, and what you kids are listening to now is not so good. And it's something that I think needs to kind of die.
We are absolutely, honestly, we are not of that ilk. Like we are. Like Shannon
Yeah,
and I
you'll
listen
never
to
hear me say
different
it.
music, but we listen to a lot of the same kind of music. We were just, when we were driving up here, he was like, man, I'm so sorry I'm hijacking your phone. I'm like, no, man, like, I love it. Like, he's playing stuff that I have no clue, and I'm not, will I listen to all of it again? Maybe not. Maybe some of it. Like, he's putting down songs and I'm feeding him. I'm like, ooh, I like that one. Never
Yeah, I'm
heard that
Shazamming
artist.
all the stuff that he's playing for me, and it's like, but like, and you go back in the history. It's like, I mean, when the Foxtrot came out, it was a scandal, and the parents hated it.
Oh, yeah.
The ragtime. I mean, that was a huge moral dilemma at the time when ragtime came out. When you start syncopating, when jazz gets going and you start getting, different accents on the on the beats, and you're syncopating, and it's freaking the parents out. It's the parents' job is to always hate the kids' music.
I just hope that we have moral dilemmas.
But
More of them?
You dig what I'm saying?
and my kids, like, I grew up on my parents. The only thing too about growing up, everybody thinks I grew up on country music. I didn't. I grew up on British invasion and soul music, and it's like, that's what my parents listened to. Like soul music.
His mother was R&B to the
my
bone.
dad,
Really?
Town.
Was that like a anti-protest to the overall, or was it just?
And my it's like, well, they were huge Beatles. Just like everybody else of that generation. It was like Motown. Stax, all that stuff. Wilson Pickett was like Sam and Dave were like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
Mean more to me growing up than any of the '60s country people. It's like I didn't.
That's interesting.
Merle
That's really
Haggard,
interesting.
Slipped. Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard, we'd listen to, but it's.
I think yours kind of is, from knowing you a bit, is like Shannon grew up as a kid. His friends were Jerry Reed's grandkid and Bobby Bear's, and like, I mean, he's
like
it's a kind of Chet Atkins.
Chet Atkins' grandson.
So
it's like it's
a bit of kind of like, oh,
I went to school with all like Mel Tillis's kids. It's like
no big deal. Like we're like going like,
but no one's
Sure.
everyone
Tell me
else-
more.
tell us exactly.
But nobody was
Tell me more.
Jimmy Bowen's son. It's like it's like, but no one was a jerk, and no one acted like, I can say this to like accurately. Everybody was just normal, middle class growing up. It wasn't like no one had like Porsches and like was like.
Right.
Well, I think that's the funny thing about the Nashville scene in general, right?
Yeah.
Is you do have a ton of that. And there is nothing more, for those who, and we're way getting off subject, but I love this. There is nothing more demoralizing than living in Nashville if you think you're going to be the greatest musician in the entire world. It's the equalizer.
That's the genius of it, you see.
It's
Like you go to Nashville, and I remember for the longest time, like, I mean, I've told you all the writers' nights I've played, all the rejections
Sure.
I've had per se, and then I would go out of Nashville and play a song out. I could come to Springfield, and people are like, "Man,
Greatest
that is
thing
a
I've ever heard."
Great song." It's like I'm judging myself from this tight little box of Nashville, so those things, I needed that, like personally as a writer, and that we see that, around that's why you go to Nashville.
If it really came down to it and I come into Nashville, I am not even in the top 100
You're
of
not
the
going
players
down
that
to
are down
Roberts
there.
on a Saturday night, and you're the guy.
Well, because like your mailman's going to eat your lunch.
Exactly. Exactly. And I remember
Totally.
one of my favorite stories, and I remember this very, very well. We started playing some gigs in Nashville as teenagers and started doing some stuff. And at that time, there was a club called Wolfie's downtown.
Yeah.
And we got to play the gig down there. And, we'd played in Nashville before. We played the Station Inn and the more bluegrassy clubs, but they asked us to play that one. And it was very funny to me because got friends that come in there, and two of them got off work driving beer truck, and it's Ronnie Reno. Not Ronnie, no, it was Dale Reno. Sorry, Dale Reno and Rob McCurry come in working. Now these are the guys in my world of the bluegrass realm. This is the Renos, man.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Don Reno's son,
Don Reno's
and playing with the
McCurry's
Renos
son.
and Del McCurry's son, and we're talking about the best, and Mike Bubb starts showing up there, and all these guys are coming in here, and they're driving a beer truck, and they still have their uniform on.
Right.
And this is what, you're going, wait a second, these are my heroes. These are the ones that just 2 nights ago were playing the Opry,
Yeah.
and they're out there and getting paid to do the thing, and they go to all the shows, and I'm asking them to sign all my stuff, and here they are showing up to me to watch this gig that we did at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and they're driving a beer truck and doing the uniform afterwards. That's the thing about Nashville that I think a lot of people don't understand is it's not about how great you are, because there's so many that are that great and better. There's obviously, you have to be great. Don't get me wrong. That's not about
You just have
what
to
I
be
just said.
you. You have to embrace who you really are and be good with that. and know that you are going to fit in with everyone else. If you're trying to cut heads in Nashville, you're cooked.
Yeah.
Now, there are guys that truly can cut your head, and it'll let you know that. But I think that all the people I've ever seen in Nashville, if you just be you and accept that it doesn't matter what your level of skill is, if you can't, I can't play bluegrass at all. I would not for a second sit and try to play bluegrass with you.
Yeah, I took lessons.
I'll play, just play music with you, but I would never be like, I'll take this one.
Let me take this.
I got this one. Here we go.
Yeah, I would never in a million years.
But that's probably from me being in Nashville and understanding my place. I understand my place, and it's all good. It's like, I wouldn't ask you to sing one of my songs.
As you know, Pete, and I'm around. A lot of my friends are obviously, and some are like really great known music. And growing up and being around, especially in that scene where you know these people, you see them at the grocery store, whatever it is. But it's like, and they're session guys. Like I've always been about the session guys or the sidemen. I've always been way more. I'm if I get starstruck, it's because I'm like. It's like I'd be around Harold Bradley. I'd go to lunch with he'd have lunch at my grandfather and stuff, and I'd be sitting there just like, here's Harold Bradley. I'm sitting there talking to Harold. He's like the nicest dude in the world. It's crazy.
I think all this conversation, to what'd you call it?
We probably bored everybody.
I think the recap of this really is.
Let me bring this back a second.
How cool is it that we can have these conversations now, and we're at the helm of a guitar company, and that not that makes. All of a sudden the guitar, but
it can
there's
be
DNA in that. There's DNA.
You're right. I do think it's a cool opportunity for Breedlove Guitars, because I do think that there was kind of this space that they were definitely carrying, and now it may be able to broaden out to a different space.
That's right.
And maybe not necessarily broaden out, but go to a different space. Maybe we're going to gain some new fans of what Breedlove is, because you're able to talk in a way that excites somebody else.
What's next?
Yeah.
Where are we going with this, guys?
We've listened to the market, to dealers. We've asked a lot of folks, like, what do you love? Where are the wins? Where are the loses? Where are the misses? You'll see. We'll go back to some different shapes. I always kind of, for me, playing the guitar, I thought, I want another guitar. Like if I love a brand or a guitar I'm playing, I want to get another one, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get one that's the same shape, or maybe a different finish
or different combination of words.
Yeah.
Something different.
Something a little.
You never want
but
two
you
of
got
the exact same thing.
One or two shots, right? But if we have different shapes and we don't kind of just block out a whole demographic of people that want a dreadnought guitar, why do we not have it? So we need to service that.
So why do you not have it?
Well,
let's
get ready.
get ready.
Here's another thing, John, is to make things easier for dealers, too, for their customers. So when you're looking at our guitars on the hook and they're hanging there, it's not so hard to discern what is what.
Model numbers, too.
Model, nomenclature, just visually when you look up, you can see what a mahogany side looks like versus an East Indian rose. I mean, you see a difference where someone would go, I know what
naming
that
something
is,
that
versus
makes
just
sense.
a different paint job or
Yeah.
this is something that's a Discovery but looks just like something that's a USA. I mean, there was a lot of confusion, and it can happen over time.
Sure.
It's like I don't know if you guys have ever developed any software program.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Right.
Really smart.
Exactly. And over time, you just keep adding to it.
Sure.
And adding to
I know
it.
exactly
A
where you're
website.
going to.
A website.
And
I
you
know
keep forgetting
exactly.
about
And then you turn around 10 years and go, wow, look at all this stuff on this website. And it's time. It's time to do a little SKU reduction.
I'm
There's
going to
like
make
12
a more common one. It's the clutter that you build up in your storage room.
Yes.
There, where you start out with just a few things in this
your
new
house.
house.
Your garage.
Your
Well,
house.
Garage. Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
like 36 versions of the Discovery guitar. It's like, or whatever. It's something like 72 versions of it. And you can't, I can't tell the difference, so.
That's because you're a drummer.
I
So
know. I'm not a musician, so.
absolutely. By the way, I wanted to get into that, but we're going to get to that one later. Eddie Arnold's view on: are you a musician if you play drums?
Right.
How did Eddie feel about that?
He and let me say this also. He did respect Bill Monroe, by the way. He did like Bill Monroe. He respected him. I did.
You make note of that.
That's
My
true.
God.
That is true.
I don't
actually.
doubt it.
He actually, we talked about that because I remember going to talk to him like right after I saw him at the Bell Cove Club. I remember going and telling him about that because I talked to Bill Monroe. I said, hey, introduce myself, and anyway, he said, that's awesome. Anyway, but he just said the music just sucks. So, actually, what he said is like it won't sell. I'll tell the last story still about Eddie. I took my band's recording like in '94 or something like that to play for Eddie, and we go in there and he played in his system and stuff, and it was a cassette. He didn't know my grandmother had secretly helped us finance. But she gave us.
He did.
It was like $400 she gave us. And so he never forget. He listens to our record and he goes, "Boys, you guys need to cut your hair and learn how to play something somebody wants to hear." He goes,
Or something sells.
He goes, boy, he goes, jazz don't sell.
Jazz don't sell.
Was he wrong?
He was not wrong. We laughed. We used to laugh.
He was not wrong.
I still text my old bandmates all the time. We're just like, jazz don't sell. They're like, he's right. We weren't even a jazz band.
Guess what?
And
Bluegrass.
you weren't even a jazz
By the way,
band.
he was also right about bluegrass until Billy Strings.
Billy Strings.
I don't know.
He's doing something.
You guys, I think Eddie has officially been proven wrong.
Well,
Okay, so let me
you get him
ask you
fish,
a
you're good to
question. As a non-bluegrass guy to a bluegrass guy, how do you feel about Billy Strings?
I've actually been a big fan for a long time. This is a hard line, and I think Billy would tell you the same thing. The greatest guitar player that's ever lived, I don't think that happens in a lot of times the people that always claim that that's the greatest guitar player that's ever
It's
been.
not a competition.
There's that. So you're right. But here's what I absolutely love about Billy Strings. One, obviously, being able to get to an audience. I've seen the generations of bluegrass music and what they've become. Osborne Brothers, who became absolute country music stars. Again, that was not bluegrass music either. But of all of those regenerative bands that have redone this form of music, there's not been many of them that knew the art form as well as Billy Strings does.
That's cool.
That's good.
He's
And
extremely authentic.
It is real.
I can't say I'm a fan. I think he's good.
I am a fan, but
I'm not a huge fan of his music overall. I wouldn't sit down and listen to it all the time, but I admire his business. I admire what he's done for the music, and I admire that he knows what he's doing. It's not playing to the audience as if he is a historian of the music. He is truly
He
into
knows the
it.
heritage
He
of it.
knows it, and he's
he
not.
can get as deep into that
not
as
playing
anybody else can, and he can show you why. And he loves everything from the origins of it all the way through to what it is now. And I find that to be very refreshing, especially in a world where you guys know this in every genre. You have the people who only think the section of what they listen to is the real part of it, and everybody else is outside of it.
And with bluegrass, there's a major tradition of play acting. Being a traditionalist, you're
It's like a reenactor. Civil War reenactor.
You're playing to the audience. Yeah, exactly. You look like a war reenactor. Where I think he's truly just being himself, a traditionalist, paying homage to that. More than just trying to gain something by playing Amish.
And at the same time,
say
saying
Amish?
Playing
yes.
Amish.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought he's not Amish, is he?
Man, I watched him.
Homage.
He was playing electric with the Dead and Company the other night.
Yep.
I watched the whole thing the other night. It was really cool. I was really impressed.
I would say, as someone that just like,
Playing electric.
I really don't know anything about Billy Strings' music, but what I think is really cool is it transcends and it's created just echo what you're saying. He's tapped into something that has to be real because you can't bullshit that many people.
We're getting it wrapped up. It is. We could go on forever because
Yeah,
I love that there's
obviously.
musical histories and talking music. I love that kind of stuff. So
This is why we do what we do.
that's
All
why
of
we're
us.
here. I'm looking forward to all the new cool things that are going to be happening with you guys. I'm looking forward to this relationship and seeing where it all goes. I'm hanging out. You got to take me to all the cool country stuff, and then Pete's going to show me where all the cool singer songwriter stuff is. I haven't done that. There aren't any anymore.
I know.
Cool, cool.
Did you say
cool
cool?
and Pete? No.
That's where John Stamos sings out.
Anyway, it'll be cool to kind of see where this kind of goes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys bring to the company because I do think there is some really cool opportunity for it. So, thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having
Thanks
us.
for
This
yes.
is
Thank
great.
you.
I think we know you guys now.
You feel like you know us better?
At least better.
I know that I don't like them very much.
He's like, I'm never going to talk to these guys.
I'm never speaking to these guys.
I'm not
again.
saying
They're shutting off the account. It's like,
happy that I know you better now, but I do know you better.
we're quitting you.
Can't wait to get into Eddie Arnold's pool, though. This is going to be the best.
We could do a video of that. We breaking in, like climbing the fence over there.
Totally.
Drug-filled sharks with lasers on
Yeah.
their
Dude,
head.
what if we jumped off an airplane and landed in Eddie Arnold's pool?
Or Webb Pierce's pool.
Webb Pierce's
has-
pool.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Webb. Yeah, that pool. That's still there.
Right
yeah.
across from Studio B.
This has
That's
been
right, yeah.
faded out right now.
Yeah.
We're done. You guys are just talking to yourselves now.
I think it's a good idea.
Take me away.
The Acoustic Shop Knows People, handmade by Trent Pruitt, Hinkley Hinkleston, and Jason Chapman for the Acoustic Shop.
Theme song written and performed by Ofer Koren.
And please remember to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.